Good morning everyone, welcome to the channel. Today, we looked at these the other day, didn't we? How to drill these and where to drill them, if you remember, with the indentations here. So today we're going to be fitting the bolts from underneath. So how to go underneath the van. We need to pull the exhaust down and we need to pull all the underside off so we can reach these, because this one here is going to be a 2+1, so we've got two double seat there and a single seat here. We're going to have to drop the fuel tank. If you were just doing a 3-seater bench, you would only be using these and the one next to it there, which means you wouldn't have to drop the fuel tank, but you would have to drop it slightly on the edge. Just drop it down slightly so you can get to these bolts here, which is quite easy to do, okay? But we're going to do the full one. We're doing a 2+1, so I'll show you how to drop the fuel tank and drop everything underneath to get to these bolts from underneath there. Okay, so the first thing we'll do, we'll jack the van up and we'll have a look underneath. Okay, so underneath the van, this is what you'll have. So basically this is in the middle. This is the driver's side. And this is the passenger side, where the fuel tank sits here, and you've got this over the rear axle, this little plastic piece here. Okay, now if you're just doing a 2+1 like I'm doing, then you only need to take off the plastic here, and then you need to take off the plastics here and the fuel tank. Okay, if you are doing a 3-seater bench, then you need to take this off to get to the bolts underneath this here. Okay, so because I'm just doing a Kombi, I would only need to take this off. To do a 2+1, I would only need to take this off and this off here, but I've taken everything off just to show you how it's done. Okay, so just a quick explanation of these brackets before we fit them into the van. I've laid them out how they would be fitted in the van. So you've got the two at the end, which will be at the very end, at the driver's end. You've got two in the middle, which are these here, two together, which are these two here, and then you've got one at the passenger end here. Okay, now if we start these two here at the driver's side end, what you've got is, once this goes through the chassis and comes out the other end, you will have two brackets, okay? And it is 780-803-547A, and the other one is 780-803-548A. Okay, now the difference is, if you look at this bracket here, you can see that it actually bends up here, okay? And on the other one, it actually bends in the opposite way. So depending, we'll have a look after when we fit this, depending which way your chassis goes, you'll find that there's an indentation, and that fits along with the contour of the chassis, okay? So depending which one goes where, so it's either that one or this one. I'll show you when we do that one there. Now the ones in the middle, which are these two here, they're quite close together. All we do is we're fitting these, so these just go over underneath like that. Okay, that goes over the chassis, and there's one each side. Okay, so instead of using these brackets, we're using like an extended bracket. So you just put them through there, and these go through the chassis at the bottom. That one, those two there are 780-802-763A, and of course there's four. You need four of these. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. These two at the end here are exactly the same as these two here. Now you need 4 of these brackets, which is 780-803-847A, and you need 4 of these here, which is 780-803 548A. Okay, so we'll have a look now at fitting these brackets on the passenger side, on the driver's side, sorry, and I'll show you what we do with those brackets. Okay, so let's do this one together. It's a good idea to prime with the holes before fitting the brackets as well. Okay, so when you fit these here, just put them through the hole there like that. Make sure this bar here is towards the front on all of them. Okay, then you need your brackets. You need one of each different type, and you need the nuts. Okay, so these are the nuts you need here. Okay, so let's go underneath, let's have a look. So here we are. This is the stud that's sticking through here. Now, as you can see, if you can see carefully here now, so try and point it out to you. You can see, got the arm there. Oh, this is difficult. So it's high here and it's low there. Okay, it's high here because we're going over the lip here, and low there. So we need the bracket, which is, it's this one here, I believe. So as you look at this one here, oh, I'm sorry, it follows the contour. See, it's high at the end and low at this end here. So if we put that up against the chassis there, like that, you can see it sits flush with the contour all along there. Okay, so once you put that up there, you then need to put the nut to hold that in place there. Okay, and that's how the bracket fits. You can see it's flush. It sits quite tight along the lip there. Okay, now you can also, once you've fitted that there, you can also drill here. Oops, let me get this light into there. It's difficult. You can also drill here, as you can see there, and put rivets in there, but you'll do that after you tighten these up. Once they're tight, you can fit them up. Okay, so we now go to the other side, which is the opposite side here. This is the other side of the chassis rail. We're on the same bracket, and as you can see that the contour this side is opposite to the other side. So it is high on this side and low that side. As you can see, this is an opposite bracket to the other side. Once I fit there, you can see it fits flush against there, and I've just put the nut there to hold it onto there. So we're underneath the van. We've got axle stands holding it up, and obviously try and get it as high as you can. So what we're doing is we need to take this sheet off here. Okay, this is above the exhaust here. Now some transporters have the exhaust that go all the way over the back axle, over there and over the back. If you've got that type of exhaust, then undo the mountings at the very back, and undo the mountings here for the exhaust, and the other side. I think there's a mounting the other side as well, and let the exhaust drop onto the axle at the back there. If you've got this type of exhaust where it ends before the back axle here, what I'm going to do, because there are mountings here, but you need to be careful that you don't drop the exhaust. So I'm going to undo the exhaust mountings, and I'm going to let the exhaust drop down onto an axle stand just to keep it so it doesn't stretch any of the mountings, anything like that. So that's what we're going to do first, and then afterwards I'm going to undo the handbrake cable, which comes out of here. So we need to undo that cable there, and then we'll carry on from there. Okay, so sorry, the video's upside down and it's very tight underneath here, so yeah, okay then, so let's do this. So these are the mounts here for the exhaust. You've got 13mm there, 13mm there, and you've got another one on the opposite side of the exhaust there. Okay, so I'm going to drop those two there, and then I'm going to support the exhaust with an axle stand. Okay, as we can see, we've dropped the exhaust and it's sitting on an axle stand there. Okay, next thing we're going to do undo the handbrake cable. So, for those that don't know, handbrake is situated here. Now we need to take the sleeve off here. Now if you look at my previous video, I've shown that underneath here there is like a tag that you put a flat screwdriver in, put it in, lift the tag down, and then slide this off. Okay, we'll do that now. Okay, so that just slides off there. Now you need a 10mm socket to go on this nut here. So obviously put the handbrake down first, make sure your back wheels are chocked, and undo that nut from there. Okay, with the nut removed from there, it's time to go back underneath the van. Okay, with your handbrake cable loose, which it is, pull that, you can see it's loose. There's a plastic tab here sticking out, and there's one each side there. You need to squeeze those in with a pair of pliers and pull this out of there. Once that's out of there, then we can then undo that one and that one there, just so that the handbrake drops down out the way. We can actually keep it out the way actually. Okay, so just squeeze those two tabs together and push this one out there. If you've got a long wheelbase, I think there's another handbrake. There's another handbrake tab here somewhere. That one there, it's like a hook, it is. So you'll have to undo the hook from here on the long wheelbase. Okay, on the short wheelbase there isn't one. Okay, so once your handbrake is out of the way like that, we can now start undoing everything that's holding this sheet up here. So you've got bolts here, you've taken the ones from the exhaust there, you've got these here, there, you've got one at the back. So it's just a case of working around. You've got these, so for these here you have to bend these tabs back, and what I use is like a long nose pliers on these just to go into it and twist them. So I've got like long nose pliers, and I go into it like that and I twist to get them going. Okay, so you want to undo all those there, all the way around, and then when you come to here, I'll show you. You need to drop this one, and the one there, because what you'll find is on this one, the one we're taking off, it's actually bolted behind this sheet as well. Underneath here there's one there, and there's one behind. Once you drop this one out the way, there's one behind there as well, so we need to do those two. Okay, so we'll carry on taking those screws out of there now. Okay, so like I said, now we're here at the half joint. You've got a couple of things here we need to do. So at the side here, as you can see, there's one you need to take out there, and if you look here, there's one you need to take out underneath there. There's one there. Also, you've got clips that hold this hold the sensors onto there. Okay, so there is a like a cable tie on there with a clip that needs coming off there with long nose pliers. Take that out to there. Okay, so let's take those off. Okay, so with this sheet loose, it will come out of there. Okay. Okay, so that's the middle sheet removed from there now. So let's have a look back underneath the van. Okay, so that's the chassis rails. These are the chassis rails exposed. What we've done, looking from the top, if you look at the this is the fuel tank that we need to drop, and as you can see there are two holes there already. You can see them there. So what we have is a bracket that goes over this and over here. That gives you the strength to the bracket, to the bracket up top. So we need to drop this fuel tank to get to these here, and everything on the passenger side. On the driver's side, let's see if we can turn the camera. We need to drop this plastic trim from here. Okay, now the plastic trim, the only thing that's holding this plastic trim in is these 8mm screws. So if you have a look around, you'll see these 8mm screws. You can see mine is split, but I'll be taking mine off and replacing it anyway. So once you undo all those plastic all the under screws here, you will then see access. So as you can see, you've got a hole there and a hole there to fit your bracket underneath there, and you've got the one at the back there as well. Okay, and that is it. So just tighten these up now, and then that bracket will be done. You need to do the same now on the chassis, this chassis leg here. So we'll push the bracket through and tighten up the bolts and the bracket exactly the same as you've done on this one here. Follow the contour, you can see the bracket only fits in one way. Okay. Those two are bolted up tight now. And our next thing to do now is to drop the fuel tank, because we need to get to these here. So, doing these here, dropping the fuel tank, it's not as bad as you think. So what we need to do is open this here. You need to undo the screw from here. There's a screw in there. There's a screw in there. There's a screw in there. Sorry, it's not, it's that one, it's that one, and it's that one there. Okay, take the caps off here and then they should come off. Okay, with those screws undone there, so you've got one, like I said, one there, you've got one here, and you've got one at the bottom here. Take the caps off, and then you can just pull forward, lift up, and that will release that. You've also got a pipe that goes down the back, like if you can see it there, pipe there that goes down the back there. You'll have to wiggle that out from there, or you can just I think you can, yeah, pull the pipe out. That's what I usually do. It's not clipped in anywhere, but it does feed. See, it does feed down like that. Okay, that's that out of there. Next, you have got a bolt in there, and you've also got one in there and one in there, just to take off, just to loosen up this neck here. Okay. Okay, so on the fuel tank side, it's the same as the other side. You've got to take the plastic covers off all along here. All along here, you need to take this plastic down as well, which is here at the front bit here. So just follow where all the screws are, you'll see them. M8 screws here, 8mm screws all the way around. So drop the plastic covers off. And then once you've dropped the covers off, what we're doing then is you need to put a jack under the fuel tank. Obviously it's easier if the fuel tank is empty or on empty, but mine's half full, typical. Now this is the reason why I took this out of here, but you don't need to do that. Okay, I've only taken it out to make it easier to film. Okay, now we need to drop these here. 1, 2, 3, and there's also the same on the other side of the strap here after you take the plastic covers out. What I do here is put a piece of wood right across the tank and put a jack in the middle of the tank and then lower the tank down. So when you do lower it, you need to be very careful, because where the filler neck goes through, you have to kind of wiggle it down as it comes through the neck there. Okay, so we'll take the covers off and we'll go from there. Okay, with all the covers removed now, see what you're left with. This is the AdBlue tank beneath here. This is your fuel tank here. You've got the brackets here. So what we're going to do is put a block of wood underneath the length of the fuel tank. We're going to undo these here, and there's some there and there's some on the other side of the strap. So if you follow the strap round, you will see that there's one there. See them there as well. Okay, so support the fuel tank and undo the straps there. Okay, so with all the brackets bolts removed, you can see I've got a block of wood there underneath all the 3 brackets there. Be very careful when you take the weight on this. You're only taking the weight, you're not jacking it up at all on the fuel tank, you're only just taking the weight of that there. So all 3 brackets are loose now, and you've also loosened up this one here. So then what we're doing then, we're guiding this down here. You've got this loose as well, you can move that out of the way. So then we can start now dropping the fuel tank slowly and guiding it that down. Okay, as you can see, I've dropped it down just a little bit, not all the way. That is enough for you to get in there and tighten the brackets. You can see the holes underneath there, and there are ones underneath here as well. See them there, and on the other side there. Okay, so there's some underneath, there's one underneath there as well. Okay, so let's start off in the middle over there, and I'll show you how those double brackets work over there and over here. Okay, so let's get the double brackets. Okay, so these here now are your 2 brackets that are closest together. You need, like I said, you need these brackets here. One of them's come a different colour, but it doesn't matter, they all usually are the same colour when you get them. Okay, so you need 2 of these, so any 2. We'll take these here, and then what we're going to do is, he says one-handed again, I'm going to have to do this, I have to show you how it goes, and then I'll have to screw it up afterwards. Okay, so we'll get a bracket here. As you can see, this here will go, I'll screw it up and then you can see what it looks like up there. Okay, so underneath the fuel tank, as you can see, these brackets are now fitted. They go each side of the chassis like that, there and there, and then you've got exactly the same here and exactly the same here. So we can tighten those up now. Okay, and then that will be the ones finished underneath the fuel tank. The only 2 you've got left then is underneath the chassis, under the driver's, under the passenger sliding door, and we'll get to there in a minute. So we'll tighten these first and then we're done here then. Okay, and that is it. The brackets are in. As you can see, the brackets there, they're the 2 ones that are close together. You've got the brackets underneath here, which are the closest ones to the sliding door here, which are identical to the driver's side ones. Once they're all tight and you're happy, it's just a case of lifting the jack up. Not too much, don't forget you're only taking the weight of it. Jack the fuel tank up, guide it up, and then also keep an eye when you're jacking. Keep an eye on the filler neck as you go up, because you don't want to strain the filler neck here. So just be mindful of the filler neck. If you've got a friend, keep an eye on it for you to guide it up at the same time. That would be a good idea. Okay. Okay, and once you've lifted your fuel tank back up and tighten up the straps, that is basically it. That's all there is to it. So all your brackets are now bolted in place. Your fuel tank here you need to put your screw back in here. Careful you don't drop it. You need to put this back, line it up, put the 2 nuts back on there, feed the pipe down here, put the cover on it, and then it's just a case of putting all the plastics and that. Like I said with this here, the only reason I've taken this off is to make things easier for me to film things. There's no need to take that off, but if you do need to take it off, you know how. It's just the plastics now, just to put the plastics on all the way around, and you're done, and then you're ready to fit your combi seats. As always, I hope that's helpful to everyone thinking of doing the job. It's not too bad at all. I keep saying don't know why. I hope that's helpful to everyone, and please do like and subscribe so I can keep doing the videos. Thank you very much.